most people my age, actually I wouldn't even say most people, most men my age, you know what they're thinking about? They're thinking about the Cowboys season opener next week. That's what they're thinking about. They're thinking about the Cowboys season opener like a normal person. They're not thinking about whether or not Nietzsche's arguments on morality withstand and hold up in 2025. They're not thinking of slave morality, master morality. But then again, whoever said I was like most men, most people. And that's how I actually think Nietzsche was wrong. I think Nietzsche was wrong. I know. I don't know if I offended you or if I just made your Sunday or whatever day of the week you're watching this, but I think he was wrong. I think that, okay, so before I talk about why I think he was wrong, there's this concept Nietzsche on, I think it's like on the basis of morality, one of them ones. He talks about slave morality and then he talks about master morality. And slave and master, man, these are such loaded terms in America, but it's what he gave us. And actually in German, it's probably an even worse word. Basically, master morality is about being noble and it's about hierarchy, and it's about power and just virtue just within being a master. It's basically because you're powerful that that's what makes you a master and it gives you morality. I know I'm oversimplifying it. I know. And then slave morality is about equality, and it's about loving others, and it's about just making sure everyone else is included. It's not about hierarchy. It's actually anti-hierarchical. And saying it at first, it sounds like, oh man, Caleb, you should be pro-slave morality and anti-master morality. But here's the kicker though. And the thing is, and your boy's thought long and hard, Your boy, I thought for 90 seconds about this. You know what? I got that chat GPT waiting for 16 seconds response when I came up with this conclusion. I think that slave morality is important, yes, and I think I have a bias towards slave morality. But I think master morality is just as important too. I think that being noble and having power and I think having status is important. Not because I think that those are the greatest things, but I think that's just how human nature operates. I don't see a world in which there aren't hierarchies. And what I think is more important is to destroy both moralities and fuse them together so that if you are a master, if you are a person in power, you should stoop down and humble yourself amongst the slaves. And if you are a slave, I think you should, through education, gentility, I don't know what that word means, gentility, I don't even know what that word's, but through education and through discipline, I think you should try your best to rise up to your master and maybe even surpass your master. I think thinking in these binaries that Nietzsche was doing, it's a good start, it's a good framework maybe, but for me, when I read master morality and I read slave morality, and I think our society has a bias towards helping the poor and needy and helping those who are displaced or the immigrant or the minority. And of course, a black dude talking about slave and master morality. Sometimes the jokes just write themselves, okay? Okay, I just want to address that elephant in the room because your boy is African. But I do think that it is important for both. And I think that if you are a master, yes, you should stoop down. But I also want to talk about slave morality and how there are limitations to slave morality, because sometimes you do need to do better. Sometimes you need to strive more. Sometimes you need to achieve more than what you're given. And slave morality, it doesn't cover that. It doesn't talk about you trying to achieve more. That's what master morality is all about. And I think at some point, you just got to look around your life and say, you know what, this sucks. And I want to do something about it. Not because I'm going to grind and hustle and be a self-made millionaire, before I turn 30. Not because of that. But sometimes life just gives you a terrible hand and you got to do something with it. You really do. Sometimes you got to be Oprah Winfrey, start your talk show host, start your magazine. I don't know what else she does, but she did something to become a billionaire. And she has one of the highest self-made scores on Forbes. So she started from the bottom and rose her way up. And I think that, if anything, I think America is all about kind of that whole American dream is destroying the slave and master morality, and it's about bringing people from slave morality up into this noble class. Now, of course, when you really break it down, there really isn't that much economic mobility, but we ain't gonna go into that. This ain't an economic analysis video. But on the flip side, if you are a master of sorts, if you do have this master morality where you are a noble, you are in a privileged position, I would also say that I almost would argue that you have almost a responsibility to humble yourself amongst whatever status you are. Because first of all, at the end of the day, we all human. We're all human. We're all gonna be 6 feet under in the ground. I'm sorry to let you know. Breaking news, your life is gonna come to an end. Sorry, whether or not a lion eats you or not, that ain't up to me, but it will come to an end. And I think that as if you are in the position of being a master, then yes, I think one of the most moral things you can do is adopt slave morality. I think it's both. I don't think it's one or the other. I don't think these are two distinct things. I actually think they're two sides of the same coin. And for me, I'm trying, because your boy definitely am not in any noble class, and I don't know if I ever will be. But I do try to improve. I try to discipline. Your boy does intense walks. That's how I implement some master morality. I'm going to walk my way to that nobility class. And I think that it's important to kind of blend both. I think it's important to recognize that these confusing concepts that don't make any sense, and I haven't even read the book Good and Evil, and a part of me doesn't even want to. But it was an interesting idea that I've been ruminating on. You see this? That's a dictionary word. But it's an interesting idea because I think that it kind of plays into, you see this all the time when you're talking to your boss, when you're talking to your professor, when you're talking to your kids, when you're talking to your spouse. There's always a vertical and a horizontal, where somebody is a vertical. Even if y'all are both equals, there's still a dynamic, because nothing is truly equal when you really think about it and try to break it down. And I think Nietzsche was kind of alluding to it. Now, like I said, I know the title of this video is Nietzsche was wrong or Nietzsche is wrong. The boy isn't good with grammar that much, but I think he definitely was onto something by addressing the master and slave morality. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked, please like and subscribe. We are climbing to 1,000. My socials will be linked down below and at the end of this video. Thank you so much for all the new subscribers. Thank you, and we'll see you soon.